All right, so if you're a coach or a consultant and you sell high ticket packages online, right, north of $10,000, let's say for this example, $15,000. I want you to imagine for a second that you might write up a piece of content. Let's say it's 300 words long. And wherever your people hang out, that could be a Facebook group, a Facebook profile, your email list, for example. You write this up, takes you 10, maybe 15 minutes so that you can polish it up a little bit, and you post it or send it out to your audience. Then you get a response back, or someone messages you and they say, hey, read your email, read your post, I'm interested in XYZ, whatever it is you have to offer. You ask them 2, maybe 3 very, very quick questions, clarify a couple of things, send them over a simple Google Doc or a PDF, which breaks down all the details of your $15,000 offer. And then they reply back and say, I'm in. You say, awesome. You happy for me to send you over a link? They say, yep. You send them over a link. They enter their credit card details. You collect payment and you can move on to doing what you're supposed to do as a coach or a consultant, which is working with clients, having a good time and helping them get big results. That's the process that we use in our business. That's the process that we help our clients implement into their business. And just as a sidebar, if you click the first link in the description, you'll see more information about that. But if that sounds very different from how you do things to sell your high-end stuff, and it doesn't have to just be $15,000, it could be $2,000, it could be $500, it doesn't matter, right? It's the power in the simplicity of the process is really, really important. And if what you're currently doing is really, really far removed from that and is a lot more tiring than that and is a lot more energy consuming than that, right? Or if it's your team doing it for you and they have to be on the phone for hours and you need to give away the farm in order to close a $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 sale. You got to make these crazy promises and these crazy, crazy guarantees. There's probably a couple of things that are broken that you can fix, and it won't take too long, right? It won't take too long. It's not going to happen overnight, but you can probably fix them pretty quickly. And that's what I want to talk about with you in this video. Okay, so this is for my folks selling higher ticket information products that like to be able to use a process like that, where they're closing deals in 2, 3, 4, 5 messages, 5 to 10 minutes, no phone calls, over Messenger, very simple, straight to the point. Are we going to make a deal happen or not? Okay, so if that's appealing to you, hang out and watch this video with me. Before we jump into it, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel, give the video a like if you get any value from it, any tips that you can go and implement into your business, and make sure you check out that first link in the description that I mentioned before. If this is of interest to you, it's going to help you out a lot. Okay, so let's jump into it. So how is stuff like that, right? Like, how are you able to close deals of that size that simply? And if you've been, slogging it out, trying to make your webinar script organized and perfect that runs for 2 hours and you've refilmed it 18 times, or, you're used to doing these 60 to 90 minute free strategy sessions to close a 5K deal, right? Or you've got someone on your team doing it, and so you've ended up managing a bunch of people who you have to pay huge commissions to. You might be looking at this and going, I don't even believe that that's possible. Okay, and I'm here to tell you that it is, because we do it day in and day out. In order to do this, there's a simple kind of 3-part sort of system. It's a breakup of how businesses work, how this type of business works, an information business. And there's these 3 major components that are at play every single day. Okay, and they talk to each other, they interact with each other. And how these are set up and how they interact with each other drastically impacts how easy or how difficult it is for you to close a sale. These 3 things are your offer, your sales process, and your brand / content / how you communicate with your audience, right? What the public sees and consumes, be that a video, be that written, however you communicate with your people. Those 3 things interact with each other. The content builds up the brand and the persona of the person that they're buying from. The sales process captures them as a lead, and the goal is to convert them into a buyer. And the offer is what they are ultimately purchasing, what they are exchanging their money for, and what you as the information marketer have to deliver on. What I learned a couple of years ago now is you can move the weight that you place on each of these elements. And what I mean by that is you can put a lot of weight on that middle part, on that sales process, on that conversation, if you want to, right? But here's the slight problem with it. It's not leveraged, okay? And even if you've got a team, you're gonna end up with more people, more problems. And you may not have got into this business to be managing a huge team. I used to deal with big teams in the corporate game that I was in, and it wasn't what I wanted when I got into this game, all right? So you can put a lot of weight on that, but it's one-to-one. It's in the DMs, right? It's on long phone calls, it's handling objections, all of that kind of stuff, okay? So if that's where you are now, or if that's what you think is the only way to do it, we need to look at what's the alternative, okay? And the alternative is to reweight where our energy and attention is going, okay? And what we need to do is reweight it to the other two buckets. We need to reweight it to the offer, and we need to reweight it to the content, or how we're communicating with our audience. All right. What then happens is that you've got your content, the daily message that goes out there, pre-selling people on you as an individual, on their problems and the fact that you actually understand their problems, your views, beliefs, principles, all that kind of stuff. And above all else, the fact that you've got a plan that can actually help them. Okay, that's on the front end. On the back end with the offer, it's about making it easier for them to say yes. It's about making it crystal clear that whatever their major pains and problems are right now, this offer can fix and can solve. And it's about presenting it in a way that it makes it really, really hard for them to say no. It's about flipping that risk balance so that it's pretty easy for them to say yes. And you can do this through guarantees. You can do this through pricing strategies. You can simply do it through how you position the offer, okay? And here's the cool part on the offer side is when you do this right, you don't need 1 million deliverables. You don't need 100 coaches. You don't need, 300 videos in a course, all of that kind of stuff. You can simplify things right down when these things are on point. And when the content is prepared in the right way and the offer is very, very dialed in, which takes time and you iterate it based on feedback from your market, when those two things are happening, that's when they close in on that sales process, and it makes it really easy to close those deals in just a few messages. The other cool part is the offer and the content have leverage. So I'm filming this video. This is going to go onto YouTube. It will sit there, generate views, generate leads when I've put the time in once. It's leveraged. Same with the offer. You'll sit down, you'll write the bulk of it. You write like 80% of it once, and then you'll tweak it over time, tweak the headlines, tweak the deliverables a little bit, tweak the FAQs, tweak the pain points that it's talking about, all based on feedback and data. But the bulk of it you're going to do once and then probably not change that much. So there's a lot of leverage in those other two elements. And when they're on point and when you focus there, when you put your energy there, they go to then work for you, which means you can close deals with just a few messages, right? Or someone on your team can. I literally, just before jumping on to film this video, closed a $15,000 deal in under a couple of messages. I had an existing relationship with the person. They purchased something from me before, but that all goes into that pre-selling element, all right? People are making this process really, really difficult for themselves because they're trying to sell to people who don't have a clue who they are. They're trying to do it without creating any content and pre-selling people at all, AKA not doing any marketing. And they're trying to put all of the weight on the sales process and then present an offer that doesn't have any flexibility in terms of pricing. And it's really, really hard for people to say yes to. So what that means is you've got people out there who are doing tons and tons and tons and tons of phone calls with people who don't have a clue who they are, people who don't have a clue what they've done or how they can help them, and they're just churning through these calls with really, really low conversion rates, all right? And then that's not even talking about what happens on the back end after these people buy. So what's important here is, depending on the type of business that you want to build, is where you're putting your attention and how you structure up your business. All right. If you want to be able to close 5, 10, 15, 20K deals with a few messages, you need to be building a flow and an ecosystem into your business where people spend time with you before that sales process happens. And this can happen through content, both content on YouTube, on your profile, and then more of an inner ring of content, be that an email list or a Facebook group. They consume that daily, preferably, and they really, really get to know you well. They get to know the fact that you can help them with their problems. They get to know their own problems better. They get to know your plan and your solution. They get to know the other people that you've helped, right? They get to see a bit of a glimpse into the future of what life is like when these problems are solved, right? And the more time that they spend consuming all of that stuff before you have that sales conversation with them, that's all your content, the easier that pitch is going to become. And then on the back end, if at the same time as improving that content and building out the ecosystem so that's set up in a way that people can spend a lot of time with you via your content, not directly with you, and then you pair that with an offer that's really attractive, hits on the individual's pain points, and it makes it easy for them to say yes. You have this perfect harmony where both parts are coming together from either side, and it takes all the pressure off that sales process. And that's how you're able to close deals with just a couple of messages. If you're out there trying to close $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 packages like this, consider how your business is currently structured. Consider where all the effort and time and attention is going, and that might give you an insight into why you're getting the results that you're getting, or why it's taking as long as it currently is. You can shift the weight between those core pillars. Maybe your offer's really hard to say yes to, right? Or maybe it's not dialed into the right pain points because you haven't been closely listening to what people have been telling you. Or maybe the content's there but not deep enough. Or maybe you're not creating enough content at all. So what that means is that the people that you're talking to, they haven't spent a lot of time with you. They're not pre-sold on you. What that means is you just need to maybe even slow down for a little while, but reallocate time out of that sales process and invest it into building up your brand through content and making your offer easier and easier and easier to say yes to, okay? That might mean a few sales less in the short term while you get this all moving, but what it will mean in the long term is that you can close sales much more easily, or your team can close sales much more easily. And what I've found is you're going to end up working with people who are a lot more fun to work with, because when they get in, they know really, really well who they're going to be working with and exactly what they're going to be working on. There's no surprises. And this means that expectations are aligned, okay? And you can solve a ton of your problems in business by making sure expectations are aligned between yourself and other parties, be it yourself and your prospects, yourself and your customers, yourself and your team, all of those different stakeholders, right? If you align your expectations, it makes everything a lot more fun. So that's the truth about how you can close deals much more simply, a few messages back and forth in the DMs, via chat, no phone calls. You've got to reweight where the time and attention is going. They need to be spending more time with you on the front end so that you can effectively pre-sell and market to them, and the offers need to be easier to say yes to. If you do both of those things, you'll be able to take a lot of time out of that sales process, less time in the DMs, less time on the phone. You'll need less team members, you'll pay less in commissions, all that kind of stuff becomes a lot simpler, and you've got a lot more leverage because you can create stuff, people can watch it over and over again, you can create an offer, people can buy it over and over and over again. All right, something to think about for the folks who want to close those $5,000 to $20,000, $25,000 deals, and they want to do it in a really, really simple and time efficient and energy efficient way that's going to get results for the long term. Okay, hopefully you got something out of that one. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, give the video a like, and check out that first link in the description if you want to dive deeper into this topic. I'll talk to you all in the next one. Cheers.